The grand, silent halls of Nexus Prime stretched before Lara Vance, a testament to millennia of unchanging order. Her footsteps echoed hollowly, each one a drumbeat towards an inevitable judgment. 8 years she had walked these corridors, representing humanity, advocating for a species the Galactic Council deemed too dynamic. Ilara felt the weight of their ancient, imposing architecture, a physical manifestation of the Council's stagnant fear. They clung to their rigid protocols, their suffocating peace, dreading any ripple in their carefully constructed pond. A quiet dread settled within her, knowing this was not merely a hearing, but a final, somber procession. Within the cavernous council chamber, 100 species sat in judgment. Regent Theron, his form ancient and unyielding, opened the session with a voice like grinding stone. "Humanity," he intoned, his gaze sweeping across the assembled, "has proven itself a relentless disruptor." A chorus of accusations followed, each alien representative echoing the Council's deep-seated anxieties. A Zalosian drone detailed humanity's, quote, "unfathomable resource consumption." A Methani delegate shrieked about their, quote, "weaponization of even the simplest tools." The Kailari spoke of forbidden curiosity, recklessly probing beyond sanctioned knowledge. Then came the gravest charge: unsanctioned interference with the Kuth, a primitive species. Alara's jaw tightened, a fire flickering in her eyes. Their innovations, their compassion, were twisted into transgressions. Regent Theron's voice cut through the chamber's thick air, devoid of compassion. "The vote is overwhelming. Humanity, your presence in council space is no longer tolerated." A wave of silent, approving nods rippled through the council. Alara felt a cold shock, but it was quickly replaced by a simmering resolve. Theron continued, detailing the crushing terms. "All colonies beyond Sol are to be abandoned. Trade bans are immediate and absolute. Your advanced technologies, deemed too dangerous, must be dismantled. You are hereby exiled, perpetually forbidden from council space." It was a declaration of galactic death, a complete severing, meant to crush humanity's spirit. Ilara Vance rose slowly, a solitary figure against the vast, imposing chamber. Her voice, though calm, vibrated with an unshakable conviction. "You accuse us of curiosity? We call it progress. You condemn our self-defense? We call it survival. You fear our growth? That is your failing, not ours." She met Regent Theron's stony gaze. "You speak of chaos, but you merely fear change. You call us dangerous, but we are only dangerous to stagnation, to oppression, to a galaxy too afraid to evolve." Her voice swelled, echoing through the chamber. "You believe you have exiled us, but you have only set us free. Free to forge our own path, free to build a future you cannot even comprehend." With her head held high, Alara turned and walked out, her small human delegation following, leaving behind a stunned, silent council. The grand, indifferent halls of Nexus Prime receded behind Ilara Vance. With a resolute stride, she boarded the human vessel, the last vestige of Earth's official presence in council space. Her son, Kian, still young but already carrying the weight of their shared fate, looked up at her, his eyes mirroring the vastness of the void they were about to enter. "Mother," he began, his voice barely a whisper against the hum of the ship's engines, "what do we do now? Where do we go?" Ilara turned, a flicker of fierce determination in her gaze. "We go home, Kian. And we get to work. They thought they exiled us to a prison, but they have just set us free." As the ship disengaged from the glittering station, Ilara watched Nexus Prime shrink, a new future, boundless and terrifying, opening before them. 25 years. A mere blink in the eons of galactic history, yet for humanity it was an epoch of transformation. The Solar System, once a quiet corner of the galaxy, now pulsed with an almost feverish energy. From Earth, a verdant jewel crisscrossed by shimmering energy grids, to the bustling arcologies carved into Luna's surface, and the sprawling industrial complexes that ringed Venus, humanity had remade its home. Europa Station, a glittering city of science and industry, orbited Jupiter, while mining outposts scarred the asteroid belt and defense platforms bristled around the gas giants. Even distant Pluto hosted a vital listening post. Humanity had not just survived, it had thrived, building a self-sufficient, interconnected civilization that hummed with purpose and ambition, a defiant testament to their resilience, unseen by the galaxy that had cast them out. Within Europa Station's labyrinthine laboratories, Dr. Cale Thorne, a man whose mind moved at the speed of light, stood amidst a swirling galaxy of holographic schematics and complex equations. His breakthrough was monumental yet deceptively simple. "They aren't more advanced, you see," he exclaimed to an empty room, gesturing wildly at the projections. "The Council races, they're just hopeful." They achieved a certain level, then settled into a comfortable, stagnant dogma. Their technology, their understanding of physics, it froze centuries ago. He tapped a console, bringing up comparative data. Humanity, unburdened by their sacred laws, by their fear of the unknown, we never stopped pushing. We innovated out of necessity, out of curiosity. We've not only caught up, we've surpassed them. They built walls of fear. We built bridges of knowledge. A triumphant, almost manic grin spread across his face. Miles above Jupiter's swirling eye, aboard the sleek vessel New Horizon, Admiral Anya Rurik was calm, her focus absolute. "All systems nominal, Admiral," the engineer reported. "Gravity drive spooling to 70%. Anya nodded, her eyes fixed on the forward view screen, a swirling vortex of energy building before them. "Navigator, target Neptune. Prepare for jump." This was it. The culmination of years of tireless work. A revolutionary human-designed gravity drive that shattered every known FTL record. "Jump in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark." The ship shuddered, not violently, but with a deep, resonant hum that vibrated through the deck. A flash of blinding light, a momentary distortion of reality, and then, just as quickly, the view screen cleared. Neptune, a serene blue marble, hung before them. "Jump successful, Admiral. Time to target. 1.87 seconds. The engineer's voice was a mix of awe and exhilaration. Anya Rurik allowed herself a rare, triumphant smile. They had done it. Far out, at the lonely Pluto listening station, Dr. Sarah Martinez huddled over a flickering console, a frown etched on her face. For weeks the void had been silent, but now a faint, rhythmic pulse pierced the cosmic background noise. It was a distress call, ancient and desperate, from the Keith, a race the Council had deemed primitive, one whose dying star had been dismissed as an unfortunate natural phenomenon. Sarah knew the Council's mandate: no interference. But this was different. The Counts were dying. She immediately patched through to Earth Command. "Admiral Vance," she began, her voice urgent, "we're receiving faint but unmistakable distress signals from the Keith system. Their star, it's collapsing. They need help, Admiral. Immediate help." Admiral Keon Vance, Ilara's son, listened, the weight of a galactic moral dilemma settling heavy upon his shoulders. 25 years after the exile, the weight of a galactic crisis rested heavily on Admiral Keon Vance. At Earth Command, the holographic map of the Keon system pulsed ominously, a dying star at its heart. Dr. Sarah Martinez stood by, her face etched with the urgency of the faint distress calls. Keon, son of the indomitable Ilara Vance, felt the echoes of his mother's teachings in his soul: compassion, freedom, the unyielding belief in humanity's right to self-determination, and its duty to others. The Galactic Council's mandate was clear: no interference with primitive races. But the Keoth were not primitive. They were dying, abandoned. Keon's jaw tightened. "Dr. Martinez," he said, his voice firm, "prepare a deep space rescue fleet. Inform Admiral Rurik. She will lead the mission. We will investigate and aid the Keith. The Council's rules do not apply to a dying people." The decision, a direct defiance of galactic law, was made not out of aggression but from a profound moral imperative. A week later, the sleek lines of Admiral Anya Rurik's vessel, the New Horizon, hung in orbit above the Keith homeworld. Below, the planet was a desolate, fading ember, its once vibrant surface scarred by seismic activity and a rapidly cooling core. Rurik, ever calm, initiated communications. On the main screen, Elder Vorin, leader of the Coals, appeared, his ancient face etched with resignation. He and his people had been told by council emissaries that no aid would come, that their fate was sealed. "We are here to help, Elder Vorin," Rurik stated, her voice clear and steady. "Humanity offers you safe passage, refuge and technology to save your people." A flicker of disbelief, then a dawning, fragile hope blossomed in Vorin's eyes. He had known only the Council's indifference. This offer, unexpected and profound, was a lifeline from the void. 3 months after their desperate evacuation, the Kaith refugees arrived in the Sol system, their small, salvaged vessels dwarfed by the bustling, industrialized marvels of humanity. Luna City, a sprawling metropolis gleaming under Earth's distant glow, was a testament to human ingenuity. Elder Vorin, walking through its vibrant, multi-tiered thoroughfares, could not conceal his awe. How have you built all this?" he asked Dr. Cale Thorne, who beamed with pride. "The Council told us your kind was slow, confined to one world." Thorne gestured to the sky, alive with transport ships and orbital habitats. "Necessity, Elder," he explained, his voice enthusiastic. "And freedom. When you're not shackled by dogma or fear of innovation, progress accelerates. The Council's control stifles. Our self-reliance liberates." Vorin absorbed this, a growing frustration with the Council's manipulative narratives taking root in his ancient heart. In the deep black of uncharted space, aboard a scout ship, Admiral Anya Rurik reported back to Admiral Kian Vance. "The galaxy, Kian," she began, a holographic map of distant star systems swirling before them. "It's full of them, races rejected by the Council. Some for aggression, others for difference, many just for being new. They were seen as threats to the Council's stagnant order." Khan listened, a growing sense of shared experience, of a common injustice, settling upon him. The Council's fear of humanity was not unique. It was a systemic oppression, far more widespread than they had ever imagined. Back at Earth Command, Dr. Cale Thorne, his mind alight with a new vision, paced excitedly before Kian Vance. "Admiral," he declared, "we cannot just save individual races. We must unite them all. Every outcast, every rejected people, every species stifled by the Council's iron grip." His hands sculpted the air, painting a picture of a grand alliance, a new community, built on shared technology, open knowledge, and mutual protection, a beacon of freedom, a bulwark against oppression. Kian, watching the passionate scientist, saw not just a proposal, but destiny unfolding. The stakes were immense, but so was the promise. The void around Earth orbit, once a silent testament to human resilience, now pulsed with a vibrant, unprecedented energy. Ships of every conceivable design, from the sleek Terran cruisers to the crystalline vessels of the Kaith and the angular transports of 30 other species, converged like a galactic tapestry weaving itself into existence. Admiral Kian Vance stood on the central dais of the newly constructed assembly station, his gaze sweeping across the holographic projections of the diverse delegates. His mother's spirit seemed to whisper in the grand chamber, a testament to the future she had envisioned. "Today," Kian's voice resonated, firm and clear, "we forge a new path, not one born of fear, or of ancient stagnant decree, but of friendship, respect, and shared freedom. We are the Terran Commonwealth. We stand as equals, bound by common cause, ready to build a galaxy where every voice matters." A roar of approval, a symphony of clicks, whistles, and deep rumbles, erupted from the assembled representatives, a defiant challenge echoing across the stars. 10 years blurred into a cascade of triumphs. New Geneva Station, a dazzling hub of interspecies collaboration, now orbited Earth. Its spires reaching for the sun, the Commonwealth had not merely grown, it had blossomed, welcoming dozens of new races, each adding their unique knowledge to the collective. Dr. Cale Thorne, a whirlwind of boundless enthusiasm, gestured wildly at a holographic display, a complex blueprint for a new biofusion reactor, born of Jovac, human, and Kaith collaboration. "The synergy is astounding, Commander Vance," Thorne exclaimed to a younger Lyra Vance, her eyes alight with pride. "We've solved energy problems the Council ignored for centuries, simply because we share." Lyra, a promising officer now, watched the bustling thoroughfares below, seeing children of different species playing, elders exchanging stories, and innovation sparking everywhere. The Council's rigid order had been replaced by a dynamic, joyful chaos that worked, and the quiet unease of the old order began to ripple through the distant sectors. Far away, in the ancient, opulent, yet increasingly dim chambers of Nexus Prime, Regent Theron hunched over his private console. Holographic reports flickered around him, each a fresh wound to his carefully constructed universe. The Commonwealth's exponential growth, the undeniable allure of its freedom, and most disturbingly, the growing whispers of dissent within his own council space. He saw it all: the defection of minor trading guilds, the open questioning of long-held doctrines, the bold acts of new alliances. Chaos, he muttered, his voice a dry rasp, the very word a venomous curse. They breed anarchy. They believe in unbridled ambition, in the destruction of the order that has preserved us for millennia. His fear was genuine, born of a deep-seated belief that control was the only bulwark against galactic collapse. He believed he was saving them, even as his iron grip pushed the galaxy to the brink. This burgeoning Commonwealth was not just a threat to his power, it was a threat to his entire philosophy of existence. The intelligence reports were grim, yet the Commonwealth High Command meeting room buzzed with a calm, almost amused defiance. Regent Theron's nervousness had solidified into an ultimatum, delivered with all the pomp and arrogance the Council could muster. His holographic visage, stern and imperious, demanded the Commonwealth cease all activities, return stolen races, destroy their advanced technology, and submit to Council control. A ripple of low laughter spread through the room. General Xylar, the serried warrior, let out a booming chortle that shook the comms. Elder Vorin, the Cuth leader, merely shook his head, a soft, sorrowful smile on his ancient face. Even the collective Vex unit, typically analytical, pulsed with a subtle, dismissive hum. Lyra Vance, now a commander, met the Council's arrogance with a steady gaze. The message was clear: the Council had utterly failed to grasp the spirit they sought to crush. Their ignorance is their weakness, Lyra Vance declared, her voice clear and unwavering, addressing the unified High Command. We recognize no external authority over free peoples. We will not abandon our allies, nor will we surrender the knowledge we have earned. With a decisive nod, she dictated the Commonwealth's reply: a declaration of self-sovereignty, a refusal to bow, and an implicit acceptance of the coming conflict. Across the vastness of space, two galactic powers, one ancient and rigid, the other young and vibrant, braced for the inevitable. The Council, clinging to its fading authority, began marshalling its forces for a war it believed would restore order. The Commonwealth, united in its resolve, prepared to fight for a future where freedom was not merely a concept but an inalienable right. The galaxy held its breath. The void near Kepler Station at the very edge of Council space became the stage for a new kind of warfare. Commander Jiali's fleet, a mere fraction of the Council's imposing armada, danced through the darkness with a precision born of shared purpose and advanced engineering. Disruptor beams, brilliant emerald lances, tore through space, not to incinerate, but to overload weapon systems and disable thrusters. The Council Admiral, a hardened veteran whose face was a mask of disbelief, watched as his ships, one by one, went dark, floating derelict but remarkably intact. "Cease fire!" Leah's calm voice echoed across the comms, resonating even on Council frequencies. "Your vessels are disabled. We offer you safe passage home, or the chance to see what true freedom has built. The choice is yours, Admiral. Carry our message, or stay and learn." Across the vast expanse of Council space, holographic news reports flickered with images of the battle, not of destruction, but of disabled ships and bewildered crews. Whispers began, first in hushed tones, then growing louder in council halls. Regent Theron, in his private chambers on Nexus Prime, slammed a fist onto his desk, the reports of his fleet's defeat and the Commonwealth's unheard-of mercy fueling a cold fury. He bellowed orders for immediate, overwhelming retribution, but his commands met with unprecedented hesitation. Council races, for millennia bound by fear, exchanged nervous glances. Some quietly began to refuse, their loyalty fractured by a single act of unexpected compassion. The Kayth homeworlds, once thought abandoned by the Council, became the stage for the next grand confrontation. Commander Lyra Vance, standing on her bridge with the formidable General Xylar by her side, surveyed the holographic projection of the enemy fleet, a force 5 times their number. Serried Vanguard, target drive cores, Koth support, shield harmonics. Humans exploit their flanks, Lyra commanded, her voice calm amidst the storm of data. General Xylar, his massive frame radiating focused intensity, barked coordinates to his warriors. The Commonwealth fleet, a vibrant tapestry of species-specific designs, executed a symphony of adaptive tactics. They moved as one, a unified force, disabling over half of the Council's ships, capturing them intact, a testament to their combined ingenuity and discipline. Aboard New Geneva Station and across myriad Commonwealth worlds, the captured Council crews found themselves in an alien landscape of cooperation. Pilot Zarn, a Methani fighter pilot, stared in disbelief at Cat children, learning alongside human children, taught by a Serried elder. "This isn't chaos," he murmured to Robert Kim, a human engineer guiding his tour. "This is order, but it's alive." The propaganda he'd been fed for cycles crumbled before his eyes. He saw Zilak students collaborating with Jovat collectives, sharing knowledge freely, unburdened by dogma. Many, like Zarn, chose to stay, their minds liberated. Others returned to Council space, carrying not just a message, but the undeniable truth of a galaxy reborn. Within the grim, utilitarian command center of Nexus Prime, Regent Theron observed the holographic projections of his crumbling empire. Reports flickered, not just of lost fleets and shattered outposts, but of entire sectors refusing new mandates, of populations openly questioning Council authority. A deep, unsettling truth began to settle in his ancient core. The Commonwealth was not merely winning battles, it was dismantling the very concept of his order. They were not just destroying ships, they were eroding the ideas that had sustained the Council for millennia. He saw now that the galaxy, once a predictable, placid pool under his watchful eye, would never again be the same. The chaos he so feared was already here, and it was spreading not by force, but by a whisper of freedom. Despair, cold and sharp, pricked at his carefully constructed resolve. The war he had declared was not a war of might, but of ideals, and he was losing. On the observation deck of her flagship, the less-than-I greater-than emancipator, less-than-I greater-than, Commander Lyra Vance gazed at the swirling nebulae, a silent testament to the vastness they fought for. Beside her, Morven Ka, her Kaf aide, offered a quiet presence. Lyra felt the immense weight of her grandmother Ilara's legacy, the prophetic words that had set this impossible course. "We are creating chaos, aren't we, Morven?" she murmured, her voice tinged with a weariness that belied her fierce resolve. Morven, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the distant stars, responded, "Only to those who cherish stagnation. You are destroying a boring, predictable order, Commander, to replace it with something far greater. True, vibrant freedom." Lyra nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. The calm before the storm was heavy, but her conviction burned brighter than any star. This was not just a battle, it was a birth. The real 7 system shimmered under the gaze of 2 colossal armadas. The Council's fleet, a monolithic wall of ancient warships, dwarfed the Commonwealth's diverse, agile force. Across the comms, Lyra Vance's image appeared, resolute despite the impossible odds. "To all sentient beings," her voice echoed, "we offer not war, but a choice, freedom. We will not fire first." Then, to the astonishment of both fleets, she gave the order, "All Commonwealth vessels, power down weapons, drop shields, show them our truth." A ripple of disbelief spread as the Commonwealth ships went dark, vulnerable. On Nexus Prime, Regent Theron roared, "Attack! Annihilate them!" But as the first Council ships charged, a stunning defiance erupted. Commander Vexi, an Asari captain, spoke for her people. "Regent, we will not participate in a massacre." Around the Commonwealth fleet, Council vessels from the Methani to the Tyrian turned their weapons not on the Commonwealth, but on their own command ships. The galaxy held its breath. The intended battlefield around Rio 7 transformed. With weapons powered down and former enemies now allies, the vastness of space became an impromptu forum. Holographic comm channels buzzed. no longer with battle commands but with curious, cautious greetings. A Tyrian captain found himself sharing a virtual drink with a human engineer. A young Vale, whose people had long been sequestered, spoke with a Caith scientist about stellar nurseries. Council members, stripped of their authority, watched as ordinary beings from every corner of the galaxy conversed, shared ideas, and discovered profound, undeniable common ground. The rigid dogma of millennia shattered, replaced by the boundless possibility of shared understanding. The war was over, not with a bang, but with a conversation. In the vast, newly redesigned chambers of what was once the Galactic Council, a seismic shift in power had occurred. The old, rigid order had crumbled. Regent Theron's empty seat stood as a stark monument to a forgotten era, replaced by a diverse, vibrant assembly representing hundreds of species. The remaining council members, swayed by the Commonwealth's ideals and the unprecedented unity at Riel 7, had voted overwhelmingly to depose Theron. With hushed reverence, the new, diverse leadership declared an end to the ancient, restrictive laws. Technology licenses, trade embargoes, and the archaic species contact bans were abolished. Every intelligent race, no matter their perceived primitiveness or aggression, was invited to join the new Galactic Assembly as equals, a testament to the revolution of liberation and unity. A new era, built on shared freedom, had dawned. The subsequent days saw the practical implementation of this new galactic order. Commander Lyra Vance, having spearheaded the Commonwealth's military triumph, humbly declined the offer to lead the new unified defense force. Instead, she chose to serve Earth, becoming its first elected president, a testament to her grandmother's legacy. Admiral Anya Rurik, whose exploratory spirit had pushed humanity's boundaries, stepped forward as the first human Assembly Secretary General, her voice resonating with promises of peace through diversity. Meanwhile, Dr. Cale Thorne, the brilliant mind behind so many human advancements, established the Galactic Institute of Free Science. His vision, now realized, brought together the finest minds from every species, fostering rapid, collaborative breakthroughs that promised an unending age of innovation, all driven by the Commonwealth's core values. 10 years after the war's end, the New Geneva Station observation deck buzzed with a vibrant tapestry of interspecies life. Lyra Vance, now with a touch of silver at her temples, stood with her granddaughter, Kira, watching the bustling traffic of ships and citizens. "Was it worth it, Grandma?" Kira asked, her young eyes wide with wonder at the galaxy they now inhabited. Lyra smiled, a profound sense of contentment settling over her. "Humanity is dangerous, Kira," she affirmed, her gaze sweeping across the diverse faces below, but only to those who restrict freedom. "We built this, a galaxy where our differences are our strength, where every being can truly live. The bustling, free galaxy, a testament to defiance and compassion, thrived under the enduring legacy of freedom.